Hello everyone, welcome to this video. You're gonna hear a lot of ambience. Fuck, I need to charge my fucking camera, bitch. We're back in business. Okay, so I was going to make, sorry my cat is playing with the, so I was going to make a more structured video, but I'm feeling a little inspired today, I guess you can say. I have not been having the best day, so what do? Good question. Usually when I have a bad day or I'm having a bad moment, I listen to music. And once in a blue moon. So I went through this whole entire phase, okay? It was a Logic phase, and I think it was a coping mechanism for me because I was going through a lot at the time. I had just had my first panic attack a few months before I found out about Logic and discovered him. And it was just a lot. And so once I found him, especially because I found out about him because of the performance, was it VMA? The VMA performance, as did like most of the world. So it was just, I feel like it was just perfect timing. I feel like the stars aligned, and that's basically where it all began for me. And then repeat all the songs on repeat. And he talks about this in the book. He was clowned quite a bit. You know, he's always been clowned because people say like he's corny, and you know, sometimes he can be a little on the corn side, but you know what I mean? Like he means well. And I think people just aren't used to the fact that, you know, people can let go of their ego and just be like, listen, like I want to spread a positive message, and for some reason that was an issue for some people. There are also topics where I don't really know if I have a voice or a say in because I'm as white as they come. So I don't understand what it feels like to be discriminated based on my skin color. But reading through the point of view of Logic being biracial but presenting as white and not really knowing his identity and people questioning his identity, I definitely saw the struggle. I can't relate to the struggle, but I recognize the struggle. And I also recognize the struggle of people who are black presenting or are black. Reading about his point of view and how it affected him and how everyone's opinion has had an effect, even when he was trying his best to spread a positive message, it hurt my heart, honestly. You know, the way he described it, he was just doing his best to, because where he came from and where he ended up on his journey, different sides of the coin, you know. It's honestly miraculous, I guess, the way that he came from where he came from and ended up where he is, so level-headed and positive. And he seems to have always been happy to be alive and, you know, have a lust for life, I guess you can say. And like, here I am in my like middle class fucking like privileged shit, and some days I'm like, I don't know about this whole life thing. But he came from such rough beginnings with his mother and everything that, but like he ended up like more optimistic than me. It's it's pretty crazy to think about. Before this biography even came out, you know, I would always go to Logic songs. So I had my Logic phase right in 2018, and then I took a little hiatus from it. I went to his concert, Bobby Tarantino versus Everybody tour, and I actually went with my mom, which is very odd, but she loved Logic. It kind of brought us together. Not only did my anxiety and panic bring us closer, because, you know, when you're scared or upset and you have a mother and, you know, a mother figure who does what she should do and like take care of you, you cling to that, and you're like, well, I just really want my mom right now. I'm in pain, I'm upset, I'm hurting, I really just want my mom, because that's your caregiver and she nurtured you, and if she did her job right. And not everyone has that. Like I'm sorry, that's a stage name. Bobby didn't seem to have that. But I did, and somehow his messages and his songs brought me and my mom together. And just, first it started off as like the shock value was really funny to her, because specifically the song Killing Spree really caught her attention. And she would always sing it, like, ass, titties, pussy, money, weed. It was so funny. She would just come out of nowhere and just start singing it, and it was really funny. And you know, I was always blasting the music because it was my phase I was going through. And specifically the song Everybody. Listen, you can clown all day long, you can clown all you want, but my mom loved that song. She just got a kick out of it, and she just latched onto it. And so we always played the song, and you know, we went to the concert, and she was, I swear to you, she was the most excited person in our section. I was very exhilarated. I almost didn't go into the venue because of my anxiety. I started panicking and dissociating, and she took me by the arm, and she was like, "Car, we gotta go, we gotta do this, come on, Bobby's here, we're gonna see him." And she was just super enthusiastic about it. And you know, I held on to my mom, and we went in, and it was a great show. And it was like, for the first time in a long time, I had a great time. And you know, my mom was by my side, and it meant a lot to me. And I had no idea that that was going to be one of our last big moments together. But it was just so fun, and it brought us together. I don't know what it was about Logic's music, specifically the album Everybody, but it really did bring me closer to her. And we just always would blast Logic and have a good time. In a similar vein to like the anxiety and everything, so I remember sitting in my room so confused. Why do I feel like spacey a lot of the time? Why do I feel like there's a screen in front of my consciousness, and there's just something in the way of being fully there and, you know, present in life, and everything just seems to be not reality, and I'm sort of just floating there, and that's the best way I can explain it. And then I listened to a few songs on Everybody, you know, specifically Anxiety, the song, and he talked about how he just panicked, and he talked about it in the book too, how he was, you know, at the Star Wars premiere, and he was so excited, then all of a sudden it just hit him. He had a panic attack, he dissociated. And I just remember when this was way before I discovered him, but I was in my room Googling, what does it mean when you feel cloudy all the time? Like, what does it mean? Like, I didn't even know the key words to look up to Google. And you know, of course, something happens to you, you Google it. You can't help it before you consult professionals. I thought something was completely wrong with me. I even went to go get a brain scan at one point because I didn't understand it. I thought, what if I have a tumor? What if something's in my brain causing me to have a physical neurological reaction, and like there's something seriously wrong with me? Nothing came up in the brain scan. So that was inconclusive. But I was still feeling this way, and I knew I wasn't making it up. Like, this was real. And I just felt like I was floating along, not really living life. I don't remember how I came across the term, like derealization, dissociation, but I ended up figuring out exactly what the term was, and suddenly I was like, okay, enough people have experienced this so that it has a name, and you know, there's ways to deal with it. And then I was listening to Anxiety, and then it was the part where like it was his monologue or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you would call it, where he was speaking, and he talked about how like he basically was experiencing derealization, and I was like, whoa, like not only am I not the only one, which I knew because, you know, I discovered there was an actual word for it and people also experienced it, but this guy, like this musician, this artist I've been listening to, he also experiences these kinds of things. And you know, I was in I was a freshman in college and I felt so isolated, and it was so hard for me because of the anxiety and because of the dissociation that I just felt so alone, and I didn't know if it was ever going to get better. I felt misunderstood. Nobody in my family had ever experienced this. I didn't really make friends in college at the time. My first year of college was rough. I wanted to leave so bad, and it wasn't until I listened to these songs and realized this guy is super successful. He makes art. He wants everyone to come together no matter where they come from, who they are, what they look like, and you know, he's getting through it, and it gave me some hope. Maybe I can get through it too. And it wasn't until the next year, my second year of college, where I met someone who experienced the same things that I did, had really bad anxiety, and kind of trauma bonded over that, I guess. And we kind of, you know, he helped me in ways that I can't even, like, thank enough. Things didn't end up the way that I wanted them to in that, like, relationship or friendship, but I was given such incredible guidance, and you know, I found a way to cope with it and deal with it. And meanwhile, I kept blasting my Logic music all the time through that. I even got him kind of into Logic a little bit, some of his songs, every single day. That year, 2018, my top artist, Logic. My top song was 44 More, but whatever. Irrelevant. Years had gone by, and you know, I completely just fizzled out of that, and I started listening to other songs because the songs that I bonded with my mom over kind of became triggering to me because, you know, I lost her. And that was a big part of our relationship towards the end of her life, where it was just Logic, 24/7 Logic all the time. And so I kind of stopped listening, and you know, my relationships and friendships fell apart with the specific people who I kind of leaned on, and you know, things just got harder. And once in a while I would come across the Logic song again and be like, wow, I remember like listening to this day in, day out, and you know, I remembered all the words, and it just kind of brought me back. And then I got kind of melancholy, especially when Everybody came on, which is so funny because it's like a song about acceptance and like life and living, and it made me sad because I thought about my mom. So very strange, but that's just how it was. And it wasn't until recently where I kind of felt something in the universe called to me, like, listen to Logic again, listen to Logic again. And I have a whole Logic playlist on my Spotify where like the songs that really stuck with me were on the playlist, and I just started listening through again. And then I listened through The Incredible True Story, which is like one of the best albums in my opinion. That's just my opinion, babe. I really love, well, I'm a writer, I love storytelling, so that was a big, I like concept albums too, and I like when songs flow into the next. It's like, that's like my fuel. I live for that. So just, it was my cup of tea, you know, it really did it for me. So then I saw that Logic had a memoir coming out, and you know, through his music, obviously not all of them were talking about like equality and whatever. It was mostly about his identity and his come up, I guess, and you know, his upbringing. And you know, he mentioned a few things here and there in his lyrics about his parents and you know, the places that he lived and everything that he experienced, violence, drugs, etc. And I was always interested in hearing, you know, more about him as a person and how he was brought up and everything. And so pre-ordered the book. I pre-ordered this bitch. It came right on the day that it came out. So I was like, listen, I, you know, haven't really been into Logic in a long time, but I've always respected him. I've always, you know, loved his music. So I'm just going to read about his life. Why not? Like, it's just a little fun thing to do. I've been super into memoirs recently, so it kind of came around at the perfect time. See, the stars aligned again. The stars just keep aligning with me and Bobby. So the book came out, and I found myself getting emotional over a lot of things in the book. Obviously, his upbringing with his mother, so heartbreaking because, you know, he's just a little kid, and like the pictures in the book showed like he was just a little kid, and you know, going through all of this and being verbally abused and, you know, abandoned at certain points, and just having to hear the shouting, the yelling in the episodes that his mother had, which he said that like he forgives her for, and that is so like I'd like to think that I'm like the bigger person in situations, but the fact that, but I just can't imagine like being brought up in such a way, and then at the end of the day you're like, listen, we had our differences, she clearly has problems and is unstable, and it's not entirely her fault, and you know what, even though I was traumatized and everything, I forgive her, and you know, we don't talk and we don't have a relationship, but you know, it is what it is. Incredible. And he even says in the book, I don't know where I got this from. I don't know how I, you know, ended up so positive and ended up so level-headed, because look at how he grew up, look at his mom, look at his dad. I don't know either. I don't know how he did it. I don't know what like divine intervention came through and was like, Bobby is not gonna suffer from this. He's not gonna, you know, turn to negative coping mechanisms. Instead, he found a calling and he had motivation in his life from great people that he had around, thankfully. I think maybe that was really a big part of it. He had a support system. He had people in his life who motivated him and, you know, inspired him to pursue rap and, you know, push him along the right path, which is incredible. Like, I'm so happy for him. Like, I don't even know him, but I'm just very, very happy for him. I don't know, I just feel kind of like a soul connection in a way. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's dramatic, but that's just how I feel. And to hear about, you know, he was on the rise and he was doing great, had great reception from fans and maybe people who were skeptical about him in the first place, but then were like, this guy's pretty cool. But then it came to the point where he got more mainstream, I guess you can say. I never really considered him to be mainstream, even though, like, you know, the VMA performance was the thing that really did it, and, you know, 1-800 and everything. And I mean, that's how I discovered him, but then I delved deeper into his discography and his story, and as much as I had access to at the time, the criticism, and I even discussed this, that came with the album Everybody, and, you know, his rise to, like, mainstream media was not received well. People didn't, like, have respect for him. It was like, this dude, this white man, like, trying to be black and everything, and he's like, dude, like, I am. Like, you know, it's just complicated. You know, like I said, I'm a white girl, and I don't know the limits on what, like, I can have an opinion on or what I can speak about, because I don't know the struggle. I don't understand, you know? I don't have the perspective that black people do, or like mixed race people do, and that's just a fact. But I can sympathize, I can empathize, obviously, but it isn't the same. But it really did, like, break my heart to read about how he didn't know, like, his true identity, because people were making him question it, and, you know, they were doubting him. And at a point where he was supposed to be, like, he was so successful, he was supposed to be, like, at his peak, his happiest, he wasn't. He said he was at the worst point in his life. And, you know, after he released 1-800, which, that performance moved me so much. That's what made me be like, I need to check this guy out. I need to listen to what else he has to say. It really did grab the attention of the nation, let's be honest. And even my mom was so grateful for the song. She always, like, she would play the performance on her laptop and be like, look, like, he just wants everyone to know that it's okay, and that there's, like, people there for them, and that they can live. And it was, like, you know, like a mom thing. Like, I can tell she felt a little connection to Bobby too. I think he's just so relatable and a real person that you can feel as though you know him, and as if, like, you're going through experiences together. And obviously, like, we don't know him really, we just know what he presents to us, but he has that relatability, and he's just so real that you really feel that connection to him. But yeah, he said he was at the worst, and, like, people were trauma dumping on him, which, it's like, hey, you come out with a song about suicide prevention and in support of people who are struggling, and of course you're gonna get, like, you saved my life, or, you know, this happened to me, and all this bad stuff happened to me, and you're like telling him the stories of what you've gone through. Like, I'm kind of doing the same thing. Sorry Bob, but you know, people have, he really did touch people. He succeeded. Maybe he didn't realize it because the hate is so much louder than love, unfortunately. Maybe he didn't realize it at the time. Maybe he doesn't realize it now, but he did succeed in what he was trying to do and what he continues to do. Peace, love, positivity, you know, spreading a message of equality and everything of that nature. He succeeded, and he continues to succeed, because I look back and I look at that time in my life and just think of the impact he made, which is pretty crazy considering I don't really know how to verbalize a lot of this, but I'm trying my best. But obviously he has a huge fan base still. Like, people love him, people look back and where he started with his music and where he is now, and I'm just like, I want him to know. He probably won't ever see this. I'm kind of speaking into the void with this video, but I just really hope he knows that he succeeded in what he wanted to do. He wanted to make the world a better place. He wanted to make an impact, a positive impact on people, and he wanted people to know they weren't alone, and he wanted people to know that there's hope out there for them. And he succeeded in that, and I'm so happy for him, whether he realizes it or not, that he was successful in that, and he was able to help people like me, people going through different struggles similar to him. He really reached people, and he continues to do so, and I know that so many people are so grateful for him, and I'm so happy that he came from hard times and he ended up where he is now. He found his wife, and he has a child now, and it's amazing because he has the chance to raise his son with so much more love and so much more compassion than he was given, and I know he's gonna give it his all. I know that child is so blessed. That child is one of the luckiest children in the entire world to have him as a father. You can tell he's just genuine in everything he does. People can question it, people can clown him, people can think he's corny, whatever, but you know, he's staying true to what he believes, and he's spreading his messages, and he is living his best life. You know, he's in such a great place right now. He published his novel, and now he published his memoir. He's working on other projects. I'm so happy for him that he was able to find and make a family of his own so that he can live peacefully and happily, and you know, still have the lessons learned from the hardships he went through, but still be able to come out at the end of the tunnel. And it just shows me, as someone who struggles, continues to struggle, has struggled a lot, that there is hope no matter where you come from, what you go through. There is hope for the future, and you know, there could be a happy ending for you. You just gotta keep fighting for it. You have to do what's right for you, your mental health, your physical health. He just gives me hope, and whenever I'm feeling down, I go back to his music, and I go back to the place where I was. Not in a negative way, in the way that I reminisce on how he made me feel in those moments of feeling so hopeless and like I was in such a dark place, and you know, he, through his music, helped lift me up out of that. So that is what I wanted to talk about. I rambled an awful lot, and I don't even know if anyone's gonna watch this video, but I really felt like I wanted to talk about this. He means a lot to me. This book meant a lot to me. You know, I don't know him. I'll never know him, but I am so incredibly happy for him that he was able to get through the hardships and get to where he is today, and for him to inspire people. That is all I have to say for now. Love the book. I think I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads. Yeah, that's what I thought about the book. That's what the message was. That's how the message resonated with me. Hopefully this wasn't too all over the place, but you know, I said what I have been feeling for weeks since I finished reading the book, so hopefully this was a nice conversation to have with anyone who decides to watch. I hope people watch, and I hope people also have positive feelings in relation to this topic. Maybe similar topics, I don't know. Thank you so much for watching if you watched, and I will see you in future videos.